Way Up with Angela Yee. I'm here, and look at who's here today.
Back again.
Marsha I saw you say Ambrosius.
Ambrosius.
I gotta stop saying Marsha Ambrosius.
But it sounds fly still, but that's 24 years living in America, and everyone just saying what they wanted to say.
Yeah, we say what we want.
Marsha Ambrose, Amb.
I actually really enjoyed watching you on the R&B Money podcast.
Oh, thank you.
That was a fun one, too.
It was a fun time. Like Tank, Jay Valentine, they're just hilarious anyway. So, yeah, we had a time.
It made me think of what it must be like to be in the studio with you.
Yeah, pretty much. I kind of laid it out on the line with them and felt comfortable to do so because I know they know how that feels. Mm-hmm. Like just the feeling of being in the studio and coming up with an idea from scratch and building it. So it was really nice to tell the stories in that way and for them to connect and relate to that.
And, you know, last time I saw you, it was for the single One Night Stand on Lip Service. That song is such a beautiful song. Like, I still, to this day, I'm always like, what a beautiful way to sing about a one night stand. From the beginning.
Right. It's like an orchestra symphony, and it's ultimately the one night stand that turned into 10 years and a 7-year-old.
Yeah, which is not a one night stand. I just want to
at this moment
it definitely was not a one night stand.
1 million night. I don't know. Do the math between 2015 and now it's all the nights.
I think about people like recently Lotto was talking about getting with you know, the guy who she's with now, and she was like, that's the only person I ever had sex with on the first night. Aww. And you never know what something can turn into. And sometimes we really restrict ourselves, like holding back because of what we think the other person might think about us or what society tells you.
It's like the interlude on The Love Below, Where Are My Panties? And he's thinking, you know, maybe I'll just lay in her hair and play with her booty. Like, it's that moment, but why deny yourself the moment, you know? So I feel like anyone that had that feeling, hold back and play the game for what? You missed out on the moment. Now it might not be good 3 nights later or on the second day, and now you can't recreate this magic. So if it's magic, what a beautiful song. Just
here we go. We got a son.
No, thank you, Stevie. But go ahead and do it.
And you know what else? So we've heard 3 singles from the new project so far that you've blessed us with, right? So it gives us a feel for what the album is going to be like. And it is a lot of nostalgia involved with this too, but beautifully done because it's not like a straight up sample. It kind of goes in and out of things that I feel like have been impactful musically to us. Yeah, so when you're listening, you're like, where did this just come from? And this sounds like this was paying homage to this track.
Right. And that's what it was. It was like Dre and myself coming together, him being the super producer that he is, me being the writer and vocalist and all the things that I am. It was like we were having an MC DJ battle. So it was who could outdo the next moment, because we wanted this Casablanco moment to be influenced by everything that we've cared about in music. So it was like, I'll give you Michael Jackson. He was like, okay, I'll meet you with Duke Ellington. Okay, I'll meet you with Patrice Rushen. Okay, I'll meet you with George Benson. And we're like, how can we make all of these things make sense on one album? Wu-Tang, like it just went all over the place. But there was such a cohesiveness because of that nostalgia, because it was all the elements of the things that made you feel good about music, and we just managed to make it work on one project.
Yeah, and it's even like some of the songs, like you said, George Benson, but then that was also a sample from previous, like, and even with Mary J. Blige, and then like that's really dope to me because it's also different age groups. Like some people will relate and look at this like, okay, this song is from what is it, Leon Russell? But then somebody might say,
you're never gonna know if it's a George Benson thing. Most of the audience may not know who that is, but then you hit them with the Mary Run or something. They're like, oh, that's Mary J. Blige. So it's connecting the two worlds and making them make sense, so everyone can get something from each element of every song on this album.
Because, you know, I used to work for Wu-Tang. That was my first job.
Right.
And one thing that they were really great at also was like some of those old soul samples.
Exactly.
Too. And it kind of reminds me of, and back in the day, they used to do this party, Soul Kitchen. And so it was really like all samples. And I feel like Questlove and Q-Tip used to do that too.
Q-Tip is an absolute master at it. completely. And that's exactly what this was. And I feel like Casablanco, when you play it, is like one of those Soul Kitchen parties where you're trying to identify, oh, that's that Wu-Tang, that's that Nas, that's that Mary Jane Girls. And you're like going on this roller coaster ride of music that we've been influenced by. And Dre and myself in one room ultimately complementing each other in such a way made Casablanco really what it is.
Now, did you were you in LA during this whole Kendrick Lamar Juneteenth? I know you've been on the road working. I know you were mad.
First of all, I just said this. Listen, I'm not Lakers out today, but if I had some West gear, I'd have it on and throw up the dub because wow. I was here in New York and I'm watching it happen. I'm watching it all unfold online, and I had, my peoples that was there. Dre pops out, the West popped out. Like, it was for hip hop. It wasn't even about it just being the West. It was about it being so very unapologetically Black and for us, by us, for real. And for Kendrick to share in the elevation and evolution of hip hop and embody that in such a classy way.
Yeah,
like,
all the unity that we got to see on that stage.
Amazing. And I think that doesn't happen if it's not believed. We've only had so many hip hop icons that one carried that torch and carried that weight. Kendrick has carried that weight and carried that torch with class. And we've lost some of our heroes very early on, and it's just great to see during a lifetime this play out so positively in such a way. Even in the battle was crazy. The Drake Kendrick battle was one for the ages to just share online with the world in real time. It felt like what it would have felt like back in the day if that had happened, but now we're all reacting at the same time. And it's just great for the genre. It's great for us. And Kendrick really did that shit yesterday.
Oh, he really did. Ugh. And when I tell you, even that whole battle, because first of all, to be clear, they both are huge. It's not
Humongous.
like one artist is big, the other one's not as big, and it's like, insane. Why am I responding? It was like two of the biggest hip hop artists
and
coming
I'm unbiased.
at each other.
I have a feature with both of them.
Yeah,
so it's like it wasn't about who won. I know who won. No, everyone knows.
Listen, I don't think it's a debate. Yeah.
It's not a debate.
It's not a debate, but
hip hop absolutely won. And I think it's never ending because that's what a battle's supposed to do.
Yeah, it was kind of like when Nas and Jay-Z were going at it, and they were both huge artists. And at the end of the day, all the streams ran up. With Kendrick, that actually pushed Not Like Us, even though it was a #1 song, back up
out
the charts.
The stratosphere. So think about 2024 now. Nas is still Nasing. Jay is still Jaying.
Yeah, getting money.
Still absolutely humongous icons in the field because ultimately hip hop won. We've got all the eyes on it, regardless of how it happened, whose feelings got hurt because of some words, and the fans take it for serious, and everyone's like, my guy won or my girl or like. Just let the sport win, and we won. Hip hop won.
I have like 10 things I want to ask you right now. First, I want to ask you this, since you said like it's some words. Are you sensitive about things? Like, are you the type of person? Because I feel like a lot of artists are sensitive, but for some reason with you, I think that you have been able to just kind of put out music that you say things that other people might judge or be like, I can't believe she said that. But I love that about you. But are you sensitive?
I'm the most unbothered person when it comes to my pen. Like, I'm going to say it. I hope she cheats on you with a basketball player. Flagrant. But I'm going to say it, even if that's how I felt then. And to be clear,
you played basketball too. So
so it made sense to me. So it's going to make... No, I don't back down from my pen. Am I sensitive if somebody else says something about me or to me? It's words and it's opinion. So I can only feel how I feel about me, and I care enough. If I care enough, like, where's this coming from? If I don't know you, you're not in my life like that. And it's like, I didn't like when she said or she did. Okay. Well, I'll just go and talk to Michael Jackson or, Prince. Stevie said, which is wild,
Let me
but
go play the song
very much, so it's the level of unbothered on that end. Took some doing because we're all human.
Yeah.
And anything can hurt. The most smallest things
on the wrong day.
It can just get to you, and you're like, let me center myself again and realize that none of that is important. And help Nyla with some second grade math or something. I need more help than she does. Second grade math is ridiculous. I did not know a thing when I was at her age. It's getting crazy.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah.
I listen when they be putting them little math problems on Instagram, and I'm like, dude, they ask you like, okay, what's the correct answer? I'm always like, oh my God, I gotta get
We've
back.
We've had to Google and we've had to call family, friends and figure this out because, yeah, we're back in school. We're all back in school. We're all back in the second grade now because of our kid, which is crazy.
Now, Marsha, I want to flash back to something that just happened, right? Since we were talking about all of this. So Flowetry, and then recently Amanda did Club Shay Shay. So what's going on with the two of you? Do you have any hard feelings toward her? She felt like...
No, there's absolutely no hard feelings on my part. I'd only ever come across her recently in 2023, physically. I hadn't seen her since 2013, where we were cool. Like, we did an event here in New York for a hair care product. We reminisced about old times, and she'd sent me text messages. And throughout the years after the whole Flowetry actual reunion, for the Flowetry fans, it just didn't work out. They weren't receptive of it being anyone else, even if it was her.
It wasn't personal. It was just that they were used to seeing Natalie on that stage.
And there's nothing you can do about that part. So parting ways was inevitable because the record company were like, oh no, this is not going to work. Management, oh no, this is not going to work. Flowetry fans, this is not going to work. So fast forwarding to 17 years later, it was never on my mind.
Right.
I apologized to her with you right there as witness to that 7 years ago when we were on the Breakfast Club.
Right.
You know, and that was 7 years ago where my apology was to her, but hadn't seen her since. So I kind of just left it at that. And I don't know, maybe people Google talking points. Oh, Marsha's back in the press. Let me make a... I don't know what the reason is, but I've healed over this time.
Right.
Since 17 years ago, 3 weeks of my life, that was that tour. It was like
wow, it was only
tour.
3 weeks?
Yeah, if that.
I was
well, it was
around
definitely
during
like
that,
15 or 16 shows, but it was for sure 3 weeks during the summer, 17 years ago. So I kind of... You have to understand, in 2007... I was still talking to Michael Jackson at that point. I'm still talking to Prince. I'm still doing all of these other things. I'm producing and writing for other people. And this thing that I'd held on dearly to just didn't work out. And I moved on. So fast forward 17 years later, and I've got a project with Dr. Dre, and I'm doing all of these things. Last thing on my mind. So absolutely no hard feelings. But I can't dismiss or diminish someone else's version of how they felt about what happened.
Right.
So she's valid in her feelings, but there were also other people there to validate what actually happened. And sometimes you take your L's different. Like a round of applause and a wrap it up B sound exactly the same to someone who's seeking adoration, and there just wasn't enough of a welcoming reception publicly for it, and that was nothing I could do for that. I tried everything. I tried to switch up the show. She wanted to do her own song, and I'm like, you were crying last night because of how you were very poorly received. Maybe that's not such a good idea. So yeah, I did tell the MD to take it out, all the things. So it was like water on the bridge for me.
Right. Because clearly you would want to have a good tour too. It's not like you would have.
So I'm taking it as I'm getting booed, not you getting booed. I'm looking at something I built from ground up. Crash and burn. So it hurt for that, and it wasn't going to work. So moving forward, reunited with Flowetry down the line, met my husband 2015, and Nat and myself get back on stage and do Flowetry 2016. I'm pregnant with Nyla. 2024, I'm doing a project with Dr. Dre.
Right.
That's my timeline.
What made you say that you even wanted to do, after the group broke up originally, why not just be like, okay, I'm going to do my own thing? Why
I didn't want to do my own thing.
Or even go and do the songs just yourself?
In hindsight, I could say that I would do that.
Right.
Now.
But you just thought it was a good idea.
Ready to do, I wasn't about my solo, I wasn't doing a solo thing. That was never on the table for me personally. Was offered, but I took the offer to try and make it work with someone else because that's what I was accustomed to. Stage left, close my eyes, sing some songs. and I was comfortable in that
What were your
sense.
reservations with being solo back then?
I've always wanted to do Quincy Jones, Dr. Dre stuff. I'm
Okay.
behind the scenes. I love
I get accused
producing. I
juke
love
joint.
writing. Yeah, so it's very much collaborative. And I've worked with so many people up until that point too, just making features with 98% of hip hop at that point and still counting. So it was very much a comfort zone for me. So yeah, in hindsight, I could say, oh, I should have done that tour alone.
You would never know. You don't know what you don't know.
I'd have never did it if I knew it was going to transpire the way it did, but you want things to work, and when they don't, they just don't work. So I'll take that L and fast forward years down the line when, yes, I do get late nights and early mornings, and it is a solo thing. You know what I'm saying?
Classic
so I end up, it's all timing. So
you feel like everything also happens for a reason. Like sometimes you need something like that to happen to show you where you're supposed to be.
It's not even that. Just, I guess it's not even where I was supposed to be. It's the experience and figuring things out and seeing them through. If you kind of have a plan, it doesn't always work out, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So it's where you end up because of that. It's not, oh, let me just figure this out so it gets me to a certain space. I wasn't trying to do.
Yeah, but I'm saying maybe that happened to tell you this is what you need to do. You know, because sometimes like something doesn't work out. And then it's
look at how it all turned out now.
You know what? No, it is.
know?
The truth is sometimes it is. The best thing is to kind of like try to do things. Nobody does everything completely alone.
Right.
But it is nicer when you don't have to rely so much on, like, you can move when you want to move, do what you want to do, figure out this is when I can tour. I don't have to think about like, when can you do this?
Right. I mean, I think Natalie, the flow assist, and myself were very much solo artists. We just found this thing that worked together. I was trying to do my solo thing when I was in my teens, like early 20s. So that didn't work out. And I was okay with that. Like, they don't want me to rap and sing at the same time. This little British girl that's trying to do this thing. Absolutely fine. And by the time I find this thing that works, I'm comfortable. So when it's different, it's, oh, who am I? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? And you get the opportunity to do it. I'll throw myself in the deep end, because I remember performing Feelings at Constitution Hall in DC and having a different overwhelming feeling about performing, because it felt very much solo. It felt very much secluded. And I think I cried my eyes out on that stage that night. Like, something happened. I don't know what it is, but I liked it. It opened me up a little bit. I want to say that was late 2006 rather. And I knew something was happening. But it's just the course of life and just experience. And I've done so much of that and living, and happy to be doing it now.
And when you met the love of your life and you guys had your quote unquote fake one night stand, because it wasn't really
it was fake.
Yeah,
it was so fake.
But did you have, like, when you woke up, what did you think was going to happen?
We were going to do it again. Absolutely. Like, whatever that was.
Wake up, do it again.
Hello,
take a nap, roll over, wake
this?
up.
Exactly. Roll over. Like, who is this? Must be some amazing. Like, had no expectations, but knew what it felt like.
Because sometimes we tell ourselves, like, why did I do that? Now what's he going to...
Oh, no, there was no why. Even if this was that one night, it would be the most unforgettable. I would then tell my future husband, I had the best time of my life.
Ladies, don't try to...
20... No, you have to be honest with these things.
I don't know if I would say I had the best night of my life. It wasn't you, but it was 20 years ago.
There might be something that stays on my mind about that one night. And I'd have to tell my significant other, if it wasn't that person, like, look, something haunts me about maybe something not happening or happening because of how I felt that night with this person. But if I then fell for someone else, there's a reason for that also, which might
You're so damn
surpass.
honest.
I have zero filter, and if that's my superpower and my downfall,
no, that's it. Hey, I'm not mad at it. Now let's talk about the song "Greedy" for a second. You know, they always say in relationships there's givers and takers, right? And there's always somebody that gives a little more and somebody who takes a little more. Which one are you?
I'm a competitive giver, because I always end up with someone that gives, and we try and outdo how much we give each other, which is great. With Greedy, the song, it wasn't necessarily about just one relationship. It was people, it was things, it was circumstances, it was people being greedy with your time and your energy. And sometimes what you have to give is never enough. So I could give you the moon and it's just not enough for you.
Right.
So you want the stars and the sun. Now you want the universe. When my effort in that moment, when I was at my lowest moment, I gave you an entire moon, and you have to understand what that took for me to do, and it's still not enough. You're greedy. Right. I don't even sing the word greedy in the song, but the overall premise of what it meant was just greedy.
So you think about this from a business point of view,
everything.
from everything, family,
every
friendship point of view,
bit of it, all of it. Yeah. Man,
that is so true. You could give somebody the moon and all the stars except one, and they want that one star.
Oh, the
and
one,
now they don't like
it was,
you.
Right. So, well, that one is like the perfect size. It's not bright, but it's just bright enough. Like, well, here's the rest of this universe then. You and that one little star can walk.
Now, also, I told you we heard 3 songs so far that have come out as we're waiting to see. And the way you've done everything, it feels like you want to be really interactive with your audience.
Yes.
With just people.
Right, exactly. But I feel like because this album speaks to me.
Chris Greene.
Come on, dude.
Come on.
And
we know you're from Brooklyn. We know you're from Brooklyn, Chris.
Well, get that dough. Get that dough. Is it just like the song or a ringtone?
You have ringtones still?
I was going to say.
Remember ringtones were such a thing?
Oh my gosh, and Emil. Oh my God, I was speaking about her the other day. I really want to do a song with her.
Wait, who, Emil?
What was it? She's got one of the best female voices in hip-hop to me.
Can we find Emil? Because let me tell you, Emil, if you're listening and Marsha Ambrosia says she wants to do a song with you, you should do it.
She's got one of the craziest female rap voices. It's the nostalgia for me, and I think she has a gorgeous voice, so I would love that. Okay. That's your fault, so you just put that
Good job,
out. But
Chris.
yeah, good job.
But Emil can thank you. Okay.
No, so the interactive space for this album, Casablanco, is because everyone can get something from it. So even with the track list reveal that I just did on Instagram, is because the album cover reminds me of The Goonies. Remember the movie The Goonies? So the treasure map. So you kind of looking for the treasure.
That's what I was saying. It's like we have a treasure map to find the
track list. It's like a giant treasure map full of music that you're finding each and every time. I don't know if everyone's going to be able to read these credits, but it's the Guinness Book World of Records of samples on this album.
Listen,
like, seriously.
And you know what was great about it? Because I'm listening to it and I love like all different genres of music, and I grew up like listening to vinyl and everything. Like my parents had a whole lot of records in the house. So I would be listening like, what song is this? Are we really? I'm like, okay. Exactly. Then I would go look it up, and then I would be like, oh, I didn't even realize that was also a sample.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
Before so that, and then like Nas on The Greatest, whose world is this?
Exactly.
But then I'm like, then I start thinking, is that a sample from something else? Because I don't know.
So Perry Mason, the TV theme, is also in there, and then we just did too much. This album is so unrealistic, and by the time Dre was like, "Look, this is what it is. We're gonna go into trying to clear the samples," and I was like,
I was gonna ask
never
about that.
clear this. They will never clear. It took a year. It took a little over a year to actually clear the album. And there were 2 songs that we did that we couldn't get clearances on. So I changed some of the lyrics and some of the verse melodies so we could still do the songs.
Okay.
And that was lucky, because there was only one song I was begging for. I said, I don't care what doesn't make it. If this one doesn't make it, throw the whole album in the trash. And that was, can I say these titles?
Say it. I want to know.
I can? Okay. Thrill Her. Thrill Her was the one. Thrill Her, I was like, if I can't clear that song.
What song was it on there?
It's called Thrill Her.
No, I mean the sample.
The samples are Cream, Wu-Tang, Duke Ellington's In a Sentimental Mood, Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal.
That's a lot of heavy. So I gotta ask, like financially, this
Dr.
album
Dre.
is not about
Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre.
This album is not about making money from the actual album, because I have to imagine all these samples are so expensive.
Dr. Dre.
Okay.
The whole album is expensive, and it's Dr. Dre. So no, it was, like I said, it was something that felt so unrealistic to actually release. It wasn't about how much the samples were going to get to clear or any of those things. It was, are we allowed to share this moment with the world for them to hear what we did with these samples? And by the time Dre has hit me back, like, it's time. It's cleared. Everything.
Wow.
It's.
Did you think it was never going to
believe it.
happen? Because with Dr. Dre, people think that it's never coming out. Everybody that's tried to do a project with him.
1 week, it's never happening. I have 1 week, still not happening. You have a track list and people are playing it and sending the records now. And I'm like, is this real life? This can't be real life. I cannot be the only person on planet Earth that has an album produced and mixed by Dr. Dre. I'm the only person on planet Earth that has an album completely produced and mixed by Dr. Dre.
That is amazing.
Like, who am I?
Right.
What is this?
Like, we can't even get him to put his own album out.
Exactly. So,
and here you are.
This is as much as his album as it is mine. Like, we are straight 50-50 on this thing.
I saw him posting that too, and you guys had the same post.
And that was unintentional.
Right.
That was literally the mood and feeling. This is some of my greatest work. I don't know what surpasses this because of the time that we created it in, what we did to create it, what we overcame to create it, and it's a dream come true.
And you guys were working on this before he had his aneurysm?
Right after.
Oh, right after.
We were working on, what I didn't know at the time was the GTA soundtrack. So once he had the health scare, I was just recovering from my own health scare. And we kind of, I don't know if I'm using the term correctly, trauma bonded over surviving these things. And then he flew me out within weeks of him just getting out of the hospital from that brain aneurysm. So 2021, January, his health scare, I was there by the end of February. We start working on Casablanco by mid-April because I told him I don't want to do this music thing anymore. I mean, when I say do this music thing anymore, I didn't want to do the artist thing anymore. I was like, no, I'm really in my Quincy Jones now. I really want to just produce, write. I love your team. I would love to stay here and work for as long as it takes on whatever projects you're doing. And he was like, nah, nope, you got one more in you. I just want to keep you inspired. And let's see where this goes. So when we recorded the very first song from Casablanco, that's now Casablanco, which was Tunisian Nights, it was magic in that moment. Like, such a, wow, I can do more. There is more to me. And he pushed me in such a way, and we tested boundaries and just really took it there. I had no choice for the Leo competitive person that I am to see it through to the end, because I was like, we do 1, we have to do 2, we do 2, we have to do 4, we do 4, we have to do 8. We had just had to keep getting better and better each and every time, and we did, and we created this within that time frame. 3 or so weeks in April, between April and May, we're mixing and tweaking things by June. We're in with a 27-piece orchestra by September. We're in clearance mode by the end of that year for all of 2022 to the beginning of 2023. Listening party just to get the feelers. Everyone's hype. Then it was, let's get the business straight and get to work. And it doesn't feel like the time has done that. These years. It's been years. Now I feel like you're rushing me. What do you mean? Like, what? Wait, slow down. Like, which is crazy, but it's been a wild ride and a necessary one, even in its craziness and madness. Just that is this industry. It's all worth it.
I see people calling for you to do a tiny desk, which I think would be amazing.
I would love to. It would be so much fun. So yeah, keep calling.
Yeah, because I saw, people were like, Marsha needs to do a tiny desk. Like that would be a ridiculous. And I bet in your head you already know how.
Oh, I know the set list. I already know. I already sketched that out. I already know what I'm going to be doing. We might have to do some after hours and stay there and do 2 different versions of it. But I would absolutely love that.
Do you consider yourself to be a shy person in general?
A little bit. But I'm open when I'm open.
Okay.
Like this feels intimate and close enough for us to have a conversation, but then put me in a public setting and I'm chilling until something's initiated. So shy, reserved, I'd say. Not necessarily shy. I'm a Leo. I don't think Leos can be shy.
Yeah, because sometimes people will say like, oh, you were a little standoffish, like about me. But until it's not necessarily that. I just don't ever want to like, overstep.
Someone said it to me the other day. They were like, you're the most kindest, unapproachable person I've ever met. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. And it's not a negative thing to be unapproachable. Yeah. It's you feel like the type of person that I need to be worth your space. So I'm not coming at you because I just feel like it's not even necessary for me to do so. So it's unintentional to be standoffish. Like, you're not doing that. They're perceiving that of you because how they feel about you or I. You know what I mean? So I know how you are when we connect and we're cool. Yes. But if you didn't know that.
I always knew great things about you just because, like, I'm really good friends with Ryan Press. And then obviously you've been working with Jay Irving since.
Right.
And he's
forever.
He's been your manager for how long now?
23 years.
There's not a lot of people that can say they've had the same manager for 23 years.
More than management, it's family and support. So regardless of him or I being off the radar and me not doing my artist thing, he then goes on to manage other people and vice versa. It's I step away, he steps away. And he wishes me well, I wish him well. It's a bit bigger than him just being a manager. We've been together in this thing, like Ryan Press, like the whole squad.
DJ Active.
Exactly. It's
like
the
your
same
whole team,
squad.
I feel like everybody loves you so much. They're like, Marsha is
They're my
coolest.
brothers. Like, it's wild. I'm like the little big sister, and then I'm still one of the boys, so they find it really odd when I get in my feelings because they forget I'm a female sometimes. I'm just going to be in my, I've been one of the guys for 24 years.
How was it for your husband to adjust to your lifestyle? Because it is a little different. And then now you're also about to be on the road.
We met on the road.
Yeah. And
so
now
he saw it hands-on, what the lifestyle was like. And just the fact that we ended up getting pregnant and we were still on the road during that process.
But I don't think, has he ever dated like a person who is actually.
No.
Right. So it's
bit
different.
Yeah, it was kind of wild, but I don't know, it was perfect. We were just ready for that. I don't know how it works, and I'm not claiming to have all the answers for that. It's just works.
Does Natalie know her mom is a celebrity?
She kind of does. And we have a running joke that we're going to go and see Marsha Ambrosius in concert, or, are you going to do radio with Marsha Ambrosius? Is she going to be there? Is she wearing your outfit too? Like,
I think she was on the list. I thought we were going to get a chance to.
They went to go grab some food.
Okay.
Like
I'll forgive her this next time.
Right. So done. But yeah, she knows, but she doesn't know. And it's so cool like that. But she knows. Like, it's beautiful and disarming and all the things. She's 7 now, so
do you have to explain the songs to her? Like,
I'm never doing that. It's not happening. I remember my nephew when he was really, really young, and Friends and Lovers album came out, and 69 is on there. Ooh. And we told him it was about a bus, because there was a bus route in South London, but it was a 68, and he was like, I was like, it's about the 68 bus, but we just needed one more minute to make it, and then it changed numbers. I don't know if he still believes that.
I don't think
he's
he's
20
still,
years old.
He does not
But he
still
was
believe
for
that.
sure like 8 when this happened.
You were like, what did we tell him?
He's 20 now. He knows what that song's about, but it's gross. So yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to these moments where I have to explain what I meant when I said, so many things. It's gross.
Well, Marsha, I just want to say congratulations. I hope that you are taking in the moment for yourself because you're so chill and calm about
I think
everything.
It's because I'm taking it in why I feel like this, but I am. I'm trying.
And Casablanco is definitely coming out, right?
Oh my gosh, we'll see next Friday.
Next Friday, it's for
June
sure.
28th.
Don't say we'll see it. Is
out in the streets, and there's nothing I can do about it. So,
and what's the plan? Is there a tour? What are we doing?
There's going to be a tour for sure. That will be announced very soon, and I encourage the dress code to be tux and chucks. So tuxedos and your tux, J's, chucks, ball gowns and J's, whatever that's going to be. When you press play on this album, you're going to feel like you may be underdressed. So if you have your silk pajamas or if you have like a nice little, you're going to want to throw something on just to listen to it. It's
very theatrical and musical and beautiful from what I've heard.
But you also need a grill and some gold rope chains and, it
incorporates...
It's all the things.
I don't even see how that was possible, but you managed to make it happen.
Man, Dr. Dre.
And you. And you. And that voice.
50-50. We did this thing.
All right. Well, congratulations. Thank you so much for always coming and showing me so much love, too. I appreciate it. And it's an honor to have you here. And I'm so excited for Casablanco. It's definitely coming out. So
absolutely.
Next week, next Friday. So
June 28th.
June 28th is the date. All right. Marsha Ambrosius, thank you.